Good evening. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Shapiro?
Here.
Trustee McGrail?
Here.
Trustee Dizelle?
Here.
Trustee Ryan?
Here.
Trustee Michaels?
Here.
Trustee Dwyer?
Here.
Mayor Kitching?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Officers' report starting with myself this evening. On the consent agenda, I have a request for approval for the Mayor's Executive Assistant to attend the Administrative Assistants Conference on March 30th, 2017 in Oak Brook Terrace. Clerk's report.
I have the presentation of the minutes of the January 9th, 2017 board meeting. I have the presentation of the minutes of the January 16th, 2017 Committee of the Whole board meeting. I have requests for approval of change of the board meeting schedule. You now have three choices. You have Plan A, Plan B, or Plan C. Each one of them has the plan number up at the top, and so when you make your decision, please tell me so I can write the plan that you have chosen on the appropriate line. Also, I have the presentation of the IDOT motor fuel tax allotment for December 2016 in the amount of $45,730.31. I would also like to state that there is a mistake on the consent agenda. I'm not going to change the lettering, but F, what is down for F, approval of a list of payroll dated December 21st, 2016, had already been approved, and that needs to be crossed off. But we'll stick with the same lettering for now to make life easy. Are there any questions? And that finishes my report.
Attorney's report.
No report.
Engineer's report.
I just wanted to update the board that we are continuing to work on a 133 phase 1 project, but pending, working with the county and proper regulatory agencies, and we're also coordinating with utilities.
Can't wait to see the environmental report on that road. Should be a thrill. At this point, we've reached the public forum. I am aware that this evening we have a member of the Alsip Industrial Association who would like to address this board. Brad? Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. Working. On behalf of the Alsip, my name is Brad Grove. I'm here representing the Alsip Industrial Association. Recently, or somewhat recently, the Cook County Board passed a living wage ordinance and a sick leave ordinance. I'm here to ask you to consider opting out of that ordinance. The surrounding communities of Oak Forest, Burbank, Bridgeview, Evergreen Park, Justice have already opted out of this ordinance. Those are the only ones that I'm aware of. I didn't go looking any further into them, but they certainly have. The ordinance has a huge impact on business. Earlier this evening at an economic development committee meeting, we're looking to drive business into the community, not out of the community. It also goes to question, and there's opinions from the from the state's attorney's office of Cook County that the authority is not in that with Cook County to pass such an ordinance, but they did it anyways. You have an option, obviously, to opt out. Any ordinance that you run inside of the municipality, the county has no authority to override or overrule your boundaries and what you decide to do inside your community. We're also concerned as a business association that, our youth aren't going to be able to find jobs if, living wage goes up to $15 an hour. They're going to come home from school. They're not going to be able to find work. There's not going to be work for them. So that's a concern for us as well. So that's kind of where we're at. We're looking for guidance from the village board, from the mayor, on where you guys might be or may not be with it. I don't know that you've had a chance to even look at it. Certainly the opinions are out there. County Commissioner Morrison has sent a bunch of questions to the state's attorney's office. They've answered his questions, and almost every one of them is saying that it's illegal for them to do it, but again, they did it. So on behalf of the Alsip Industrial Association, the business community, we hope that you would consider opting out, passing an ordinance to opt out both the living wage and the sick leave. I don't know if anyone has any questions for me.
Question to the attorney, has the law firm heard of this from any other municipalities? Or
Yes.
have you prepared an opinion of what you think is the better? And
You know, I've seen the opinions from the state's attorney's office. However, that's not really going to help you out until somebody files suit and has the ordinances declared invalid. I would think that if you want to deal with it right now, the best process would be to pass an ordinance opting out, which we can certainly prepare for you.
yeah, I think it'd be the better idea.
Right, and to follow up on the attorney's information, I mean, yes, you can't file a lawsuit against the county until the ordinance is enacted.
Right.
It'll be enacted in July. If we wait till July, then, you know, if we give people raises, you're never going to be able to get them back. You're stuck, and you're at a disadvantage to what surrounding communities are doing.
Right.
So there's more to it. There's a lot to it.
Right.
I'm not trying to simplify it, but it's important for us to ask the village to opt out.
I agree, I'd like
Just
to get ahead
go
of it.
to a committee first, or just put it on the consent agenda?
Well, I don't know if anyone else has had the opportunity to take a look at it. I know that I've looked at it, and I agree with what Mr. Grove was saying, and
You can ask for a consensus. I agree wholeheartedly.
I agree wholeheartedly also, and I think it's better to get ahead of it.
right.
I just have one question. How many businesses are we talking about that are on board with this?
Well, our entire association,
Your entire association? Okay.
correct.
All right.
And I made sure of that before I came up here to talk to
Okay.
anybody. Yes,
Okay.
Are you
Very good.
still an officer of the Industrial Association?
yes, I am.
Also, for those that you don't know, Grove Masonry is here in Alsip, and Mr. Grove was also a trustee in Chicago Ridge a while back, and so he kind of has a clue as to what's going on and why this is important. So thank you very much, and we will consider that. We already have a consensus, so it's pretty much.
Can I ask you, Mr.
I
Grove,
have-
obviously we weren't there, but I mean, was it just was it 100% vote on a part of the Industrial Commission?
Yes.
It was, okay. Obviously, that's our biggest base, and certainly we want to support their interest and so forth, so.
We appreciate it.
It was a vote
Enjoyed our
in
work
Cook
together.
County, you didn't get like 110 or 120%?
That's what I'm saying, yeah, you know?
That's sad, but true.
Is there anyone else who here this evening that wishes to address this board? Moving along on standing committees, Finance, Trustee Shapiro.
Mayor, I have a request for the approval to accept the attorney's recommendation of a 3-year settlement with Valero Energy Corporation Bulk Storage Tank Terminal and Distribution Facility located at 13101 South Kedzie Avenue for the 2011, 2012, and 2013 property tax appeal in the amount of $20,214. The actual amount was $68,018, so this is a savings to the village of $48,000. Next, I have a request for the approval to accept the attorney's recommendation of a 3-year settlement with Coca-Cola's large manufacturing and distribution facility located at 122 South Laramie Avenue for the 2011, 2012, and 2013 property tax appeal in the amount of $20,294. The original amount was $40,531, which is a savings of around $20,000 to the village. Next, I have a request for the approval of a list of payroll dated January 20th, 2017 as follows. Under the earnings of the gross payroll is $378,596.54, minus the voluntary employee deduction and taxes of $139,097.51 for net payroll of $239,499.03. Next, I have the request for the approval of accounts payable dated January 23rd, 2017 as follows. Under corporate, $1,031,228.31. Road and Bridge, $43,549.94. MFT, $7,298.54. 911, $3,765.50. The Pulaski Corridor TIF, $4,374.32. Waterworks, $339,090.96, for a grand total of all funds of $1,429,252.84. And that is all I have from Finance.
Fire, Trustee Michaels.
I have a list of bills and timesheets and a presentation of the December's activity report based on the National Fire Incident Reporting System data. Report reads as follows. It runs from 12/1/2016 to 12/31/2016. Structure fires were 5, vehicle fires were 1, other fires were 1. Total fires for the month were 7. Emergency medical treatment calls were 155 for the month. We had total false calls for the month were 42. For total calls for the month were 261. Total fire dollar loss and total dollar loss was $101,000. Next, I have the presentation of the end of the year based on the National Fire Incident Reporting System data. This report runs from 1/1/2016 to 12/31/2016. Structure fires for the year were 18. Vehicle fires were 20. Other fires were 25 for total fire calls of 63. Emergency treatment calls were 2,120 with total rescue calls of 2,125. Hazardous condition calls were 125. Service calls were 219. Good intent calls were 249. Special incident calls were 1. There were false calls of 431 for a total of 432 for the year. Total calls for the year were 3,216. Total fire dollar loss and total dollar loss was $1,469,640. Next, I have the annual department report for the fire department's activities. I hope everybody received their copy of that, and would you be just putting that into the record? Next, the fire chief asked me to, if I could go for a consensus today because it's not on the agenda, regarding our installation of stores connections to the steam report on the hydrants in the TIF area. Chief, can you give us a little more information on that?
Yeah, what we've been doing over the last couple of years, we've been working with the water department. The largest port on the hydrant is called the steam report. Ours are 4.5 inches in diameter. What we've been looking at doing and have been doing is switching them out to our 5-inch stores connection, which is our supply holes. So it eliminate one additional fitting that we have to put on the hydrant when we're hooking up to a water supply for a working fire. Additionally, we do have other towns that come in. A lot of times we'll hook up to the hydrant for us, so we'll be using their lines. It's one less adapters they have to try to figure out what to use because we use 3 different sizes of diameter with the towns around us. We go from 4-inch, 4.5, or 5-inch, so it could slow down a water supply as needed. So this would eliminate that. We've done most of the hydrants on Pulaski now. There's a few of them that haven't been done yet, and then this will be all of Deer Park. So eventually we're going to try to replace all of them with the 5-inch stores, but we have roughly, 2,000 hydrants in town, so it's going to take a while to do all of them. This would be about 30 of them that we'd be able to do between the TIF district.
There are 30 of them at how much apiece?
The fittings that we can use as inserts are $250. The older hydrants, we have to use an adapter that just spins on. It's held by a set screw. It's not as good as the insert, but it'll work. They're about $110. So I don't remember what the total was that I requested. I think it's around $4,000. It was several months ago.
And all the hydrants you're talking about are within the TIF zone from
Correct.
115th to 123rd?
Yes, and also Deer Park.
Deer Park TIF is over.
Maybe whatever's left in on Pulaski then.
Okay, so can I have a consensus on that, trustees, if you have any questions?
It seems to be a valid idea. I'd just like to have a true number and what we're looking at, because not all hydrants are in the TIF.
The ones on Pulaski from 115th to 123rd should be.
Yeah.
Those are the ones we're looking at right now. I think there's, if it's only the ones on Pulaski, since the other TIF is gone, it's about 10 hydrants.
The TIF doesn't extend to the apartment complex. It doesn't take in the Worth Township. The TIF kind of,
Just whatever's along the parkway, that's where our hydrants are at, along the street sides.
that's not all TIF eligible expenses. So, I mean,
I don't know which one's fitting, I don't know how.
right, and that's what,
Yeah.
my question is I'd like to find out exactly where the hydrants are, what qualifies as TIF eligible, because it's going to come out of Dan's pocket, and I'm sure he'd like to.
Yeah, we don't want it to come out, we want it to come out of the TIF funds.
Yeah, if you get it,
I'll just let you know, all the hydrants on Pulaski that are insert capable, we've replaced.
Correct.
So all the ones remaining on Pulaski would have to have the threaded adapter, and there's probably 10.
Yeah, I think there's 10, I think I counted, I think there's 10 left on Pulaski.
I could check to verify which ones are within that zone. They should pretty much well be covered, all of them in the zone, because like in front of Worth, those are all newer, they've already been swapped out.
Okay.
so obviously, Chief, you just need a tally on what's eligible.
Correct.
Well, again, the trustee is just looking for a consensus. We'll have the final figures before we
And-
vote on it 2 weeks from now.
Right. We were talking about doing some additional work on the main, on Pulaski, which some of that's going to come into anyhow.
If you are considering doing that, I would, certainly would put the money towards those hydrants on the east, or the west side of Pulaski as well.
Right.
But again, it's a small portion.
Right.
Tom and I can work together, sort that out, but if it's 10 at the $115 per unit, it's, roughly $1,200 for the remaining hydrants.
So do we have a consensus? Are we interested in doing
Sure.
this?
Sure, why not?
This makes perfect sense.
Thank you, trustees, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Chief. And lastly, I'm calling for a fire committee meeting on February 6th, right before our next board meeting, to discuss the 2017-2018 budget. And I have it scheduled for 6:30, so it would be prior to our next board meeting. All right, that's all I have under Fire, Mayor.
Police, Trustee Shapiro.
Mayor, other than the normal list of bills and timesheets, I have the presentation of the December monthly activity report. I'll just read the information from the Patrol Division. The number of calls is 2,723. Number of reports issued, 377. The number of arrests were 104, and the total number of citations given was 783. Next, I have the request to purchase 3 marked Explorer. This is something that we've already discussed in the past about 3, and so now we're putting that on the agenda. And I also have a request for the approval to hire 2 replacement officers. My understanding, Chief Miller, is that one of the officers had quit, and the other one was an academy member that didn't quite make it, or so.
Yeah, he didn't make it through the academy, and the other one had left for another agency.
Okay.
Question of the committee, on the authorized level of staffing, other than these 2, how many people are we actually down?
We are currently at 38.
Authorized 42?
Correct. And as you know, we have some other departures expected within the next few months.
Okay. And then also on the vehicles, we've gone through this, we've addressed it many a time at the budget hearings, and I'd still like to know why we continue to buy cars with all the equipment. Where did the equipment go when we stripped out the last cars? We got $3,000 in for a computer, $1,700 for a radar, $5,000 for a camera, $7,000 for lights, $1,400 for radio. I don't know where the old equipment went, but when we replace equipment like this, it's really expensive. Nice to do, but I don't know that we're in the,
I will get a detailed list of what equipment can be salvaged, if any. Some of these cars are from 2008, which, as you know, we used to replace cars every 2-3 years. That's not the case anymore. Now they're 9 years, so that means the equipment's at least 9 years. Some of the stuff may be able to be salvaged. I'll go through it tomorrow with the lieutenant and be happy to email you anything that can be salvaged. I can tell you also that a lot of this stuff is so broke that it can't be fixed at all.
okay, I mean,
Can't
that'd
make parts
be a good
for it.
reason, but, and then also, for the cars that you have on the budget proposal, it has $1,000 for build costs for electronics. I notice that the squads here don't have any money set aside for the installation. So is there $1,000 per car that we're not being advised of, or is that already built into the cost?
Some of the cars may not have computers in them. If they're detective cars, they may not have computers in them.
Well, they're set for it, $3,000.
Or they might just use the cigarette lighter on those, or the ones with the computers that are coming from the factory. They usually hardwire those into for the patrol units, and the detective ones usually get like the cigarette lighter plugins.
Okay. Well, these are 3 marked squads, and so I'm assuming that they're not going to be detective or coverts. I'd like to find out. I hate when we keep on piecemealing this together. We authorize a car, and then all of a sudden the next meeting, it's, by the way, I need $20,000 each car for equipment, and then the next meeting is another $1,500 to put it all together. So I'd just like to know the number.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'd like to get them directly from Ford with everything in them. It's cheaper and it saves on turnaround time and getting them on the street. But
Right.
It's one of those replacement cars for the K-9 car that blew the engine?
That's a pickup truck.
correct,
Yeah.
That's on a budget. That's not these.
right. One of the cars, yeah, blew a motor, so it's that's Dodge, but yeah,
What are we doing for the K-9 car now, then?
he's using a pool car for the time being.
Having the dog run alongside.
Is Eddie
We're gonna
okay
get
with
him
that?
We're gonna give him a sidecar.
I don't think that we have this amount of money in the budget. I think this is higher than what we have budgeted for.
Well, we're talking about a couple different things here. There's 2 different things, and Mr. Gazelle, you reading off this report that was out?
That's second, but I'm looking at the one that identifies these 3 Explorers.
Yeah.
And $29,528 for each of the Explorer, and that's one of the regular consortium price, so that's all well and good. But we're talking about $21,508 each car.
Yeah.
For the equipment. No talk about what installation or build cost is going to be. It amazes me that we continue to expend $20,000 a car every time we replace a car, rather than do a strip and build and exchange it. When you buy a light bar is good for a long time, especially these new LEDs. I don't know, quite frankly, if they're LEDs on the old ones or not. I kind of believe so, because I know when I left, that's what we were installing.
Well, just so there's some clarity, is my understanding is that the three vehicles we're talking about is something that's been discussed over and over and over. We've discussed it over and over, and the 3 vehicles are in the budget, have been in the budget, and the money's there per Karen.
Okay, I will look at it. The dollar amounts seem larger than I remember. I
And
remember if we talked about it being Explorers at
Right.
the time when we were budgeting.
this sheet is the wish list that's supposed to be coming up for the upcoming budget meetings, which was not supposed to be given out tonight. Somebody jumped the gun on it, but it is what it is.
So before we approve this, Mr. Alvin, are we okay with our budget?
There's so many numbers here, I can't even tell what the total dollar amount is, frankly. There's different versions of the same thing. different tables, what is the total dollar amount here?
51,036, it's 153,108.
153, 108? I thought it was more like 98K in the budget.
It's 88.5 just for the cars, another 65 grand for the equipment. And then who knows about the build cost.
I'm looking at a sheet dated January 20th, and I have different amounts showing.
Yeah, that's the sheet you should not have been given.
Okay, then
Yeah,
I'm going to
the
keep
police
my mouth
department
shut
jumped the
about
gun
that
on
sheet, okay?
This is for the upcoming,
upcoming budget.
so we don't even
We're
need to
talking
discuss
about the three
it right
cars
now.
on the memo authored by Lieutenant Zablotny, dated January 18th.
Where is that?
Right. This is the report we're reading right here.
Correct, and those dollar amounts were confirmed with the finance department last week.
Okay.
So,
Doing it based on memory, and I trust my accountants to
So
actually
that's-
look it up.
as Trustee Dalzell said, they're showing a total of $51,036 each.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with purchases of the cars. I just, my desire is that, take a look at what equipment's there, that we can.
I will go through the equipment line by line
If
tomorrow.
the equipment's garbage, then I agree
And
with you
will
wholeheartedly.
email the trust, all of you tomorrow with what we're able to salvage and what we're not able to salvage that needs to be replaced.
You know, Chief,
That works for everyone.
Chief, he does make a great point. I mean, you know, the vehicle cost is $29,000, but that equipment being $21,500, almost $22,000, seems excessive, you know.
I understand, but
Just
I also
outfit.
understand that the computers that we're asking for were $3,000, and that's because they're desktops that you have at home. They're not public safety laptops.
Right.
The rugged eye stuff. So to keep those things up and going for as long as we did.
And I tell you, if it helps the conversation here real quick, too, I mean, Kent, do you have a recent purchase that we made? How much did we pay for the last car?
I was going to bring my computer down, I haven't used it
Okay.
the last 2 or 3 times, so I should bring it
All
down.
right. No, certainly we all understand the need, and if we're budgeting for it, so be it. It just seemed like an expensive car, that's all.
All the questions I had, thanks. Sorry.
With this.
I do have some other. If we decided to table this evening until you bring more information, is that going to mess up your purchase?
Well, let me ask the trustees if we can allow the purchase of the vehicles, and I could get back to you on the equipment, if that's okay.
Actually, I'm for going ahead and just doing it at the 153, 108 total cost. And if we can find out that there's some savings and they can
Okay.
manipulate that, then that's great. So,
That's fine. We'll work it that way.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that is all I have from police.
Public Works, Trustee Dwyer.
Well, I have a lot for Public Works, so get ready. Here we go. Mike Frater wants to provide you with an update on the use of our liquid de-icing and equipment that is being tested this winter season. Public Works has utilized, pardon me? Oh, I thought you said something. 2 separate chemicals for the winter storms that have been responded by our department so far this winter. The first procedure was anti-icing using a product called Thermal R. It is an organic liquid that is sprayed on the street before it snows to prevent the snow from binding to the surface and creating ice or packing. This product proved to be very effective before our first accumulating snowstorm back in December. We sprayed all of our primary snow route streets throughout the village 2 full days before the storm. Once the storm hit, we saw snow accumulate on the secondary streets, which were untreated immediately. The primary streets that had been sprayed with the Thermal R remained wet and free of snow much longer. In addition, when the primary streets started to accumulate with snow, we found that there was still great traction on the street, preventing any skidding or sliding. The second procedure that they used was used in de-icing using a product called Road Ready Mix. This liquid is made up of 80% sodium chloride and 10% calcium chloride and 10% organics. This was used in pre-wetting our bulk road salt before loading it onto the plow trucks. Liquids react faster to melting snow and ice, and the calcium chloride lowers the operating temperature of the sodium chloride, rock salt, when mixed together, and the organic gives it adhesive sticking to the surface to make it last longer. This prevents snow from binding to the surface and creating ice or packing. This can be a very effective product, however. We found our application and pre-wetting of the salt lost some of the consistency. The best way to effectively apply this liquid is to spray the salt as it is coming off the salt spinner of the truck before spreading on the street. None of the vehicles within our fleet of Public Works has a liquid de-icing tank with spray system attached to our salt auger spinners. This will be something we will look to appropriate in our upcoming 2017-18 budget. Public Works recently took delivery of a $1,600 gallon tank and truck-mounted spray system provided free of charge by Chicago Salt for testing. This was installed onto one of our 5-ton dump trucks, and we will test the effectiveness of a third product, sodium chloride salt brine. This will be used in place of bulk rock salt and help us determine the effectiveness, duration, and coverage between liquid and solids. New MWRD mandates require municipalities to reduce chloride in an effort to help with cleaning our streams and waterways. The use of liquid de-icing products will support that effort and satisfy our best managed practices to the MWRD. Overall, Public Works has found the use of these products to be very effective and has given our department another resource to help combat the ever-changing winter conditions. If you have any questions, please feel free to call Mr. Frager. And
We took delivery of a 1,600-gallon tank.
oh, good. Hopefully we won't have any snow though. And that's all I have under Public Works. Oh, do I
You
have
don't have a
more?
list of bills, timesheets, or anything?
I don't.
Building, trustee Michaels.
List of bills and timesheets, and a request for approval to allow ABC Cellular located at 12207 South Pulaski permission to place banners under their pole sign. That's all I have on the building.
Couldn't talk them out of that.
They've done it in the past, I checked on it, and they're just looking to repeat it.
Do we have a time limit on how long
Yes,
they're allowed to
according
do
to the
that?
ordinance, they have 90 days.
Water and sewer, trustee Dizelle.
Presentation of list of bills and the employee time records. That's all I have, Mayor.
License, trustee Ryan.
License Committee requests approval for a list of licenses dated today, January 23rd, 2017. We also had a few new business license applications. I'll read these real quick here. There's one known as Medallion Corporation. It's MEDION. They're going to be located at 5330 West 124th Street. This is a office for a trucking firm. We have another one from Pro Auto. They're at 11546 South Austin, Unit 101. This is an auto repair business. Another one from Vince's Flower Shop. This is going to be at 5037 West 127th Street. It's going to be flowers and landscaping. Another one for Angel Foot Spa. They're going to be at 12025 South Pulaski. It's massage therapy. And we have another one, Allied Construction Corp. Allied Construction Group, I apologize. 12612 South Kroll. This is just for the construction office. Another one for DeMaro's Barber Lounge. That's spelled D-E-M-A, DeMarco's, I apologize. D-E-M-A-R-C-O-S. They're going to be located at 4045 West 115th Street. It's a barber shop. Another one for Chicagoland Diesel and Automotive Services. This is located at 11641 South Ridgeland. It's a truck repair business. And the last one, Books for Blondes Incorporated, 12636 South Kroll. And this is a textbook resale company, and we welcome all these new businesses to town. That's all I have, sir.
Economic Development, trustee Ryan.
The Economic Development Committee had a meeting this evening before the regular meeting. In short, we discussed that some businesses with work that may be TIF eligible in our Pulaski Avenue TIF project are having a hard time getting up to 3 bids because of work that's under $10,000. If that's the case, we're going to qualify these of having maybe at least 2 bids and possibly having, well, not even possibly, we're going to defer to our building inspector. And Madam Attorney, you said that is acceptable. We can defer to him for those?
Correct.
Okay. Also, we had 6 existing businesses that have expressed interest in participating in the TIF eligible renovations. And on the agenda this evening, I've got the request for approval of a resolution approving commercial real estate purchase for and sale agreement for a property at 11720 South Pulaski Road. Number 2 on your agenda, I'm going to need to take that off the agenda for this evening because that particular parcel is not ready for sale yet, pending some paperwork issues. And so that would be letter M on everyone's consent agenda. Madam Clerk, can we pull that off?
Yes, thank you.
And that's all I have, sir.
Special Committee reports, Village Properties, Trustee Michaels.
I have a list of bills, and then I have a question for the Madam Attorney. The current request for approval to go out to bid to replace carpeting hallways at Heritage 1 and 2. Carpet replacement was appropriated in a 2015-16 budget. This was approved back in September. Does it need to go through approval again because of the new year? Because it is budgeted for this year also.
The budget year, that's wrong.
What
That
was
the previous.
approved earlier?
The request for approval to go out to bid to replace the carpeting in hallways. So this is being brought up again for approval and was approved, but it wasn't done. There was no action taken at the time. So he's looking to do it now in the 2017 budget.
The board voted on it in September?
It's September 2016. Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
then there's no reason they can't go ahead and let the bids. It would come back to you for award of the bid, but
We'll just
doesn't need additional.
Just leave it on there, we'll vote on it again. I mean,
My assumption is the dates are incorrect here, though, because the letter's dated 2016. I assume it should have been 2017, and the budget year says 2015-16.
Mm-hmm.
We're in 16-17.
It was 16-17, and it was passed on September 6th of this year, or of 2016.
Right.
Of September.
So I just make sure that we're not.
So we can just leave it on then and vote for it again with the new budget year? Because there is money in the budget. I checked with finance. The money is appropriated for it.
leave it on there.
Okay. All right, that was item T, by the way. All right, that's all I have under village properties.
Insurance, Trustee McGreal.
No report, Mayor.
Ordinance and legislation, Trustee Giselle.
Motion to direct staff to file a text amendment application on behalf of the Village of Alsip to amend the Village of Alsip zoning ordinance to amend the industrial districts I-1, I-2, and I-3 articles to require truck or bus repair, storage yard, or terminal uses to obtain a special use permit. And secondly, with regards to item K on the consent agenda, it was my thought that the board had previously discussed the desire to go with Plan A. Is that the board's still desire? So we got that filled before it goes for vote?
Not for me.
Plan A starts.
I'm not for Plan A, for doing, I'd rather be for Plan B. I don't know, do we have to go around and say what plan we're interested in?
Well, obviously, we're going to have to vote on something, so we need to know what we're voting on. And I know that when we've discussed this matter in the past, I thought that the majority of us had said that we thought that it was a mistake going to the 2 meetings per month. And the difference between the meetings is just to defer that from, and the last that we spoke, I thought that we were going to go ahead and do this effective January 1 of 17.
Well, I know that the clerk said she was going to come up with these plans, and we were going to all decide
Discuss it.
which one we were, discuss it and decide.
Okay,
which
well,
one.
I think that it's important that we have that in place before we go too far. I, for one, choose A.
You want to pull this and vote on it the next board meeting, give everybody a chance to review the 3 plans and
Yeah, good idea, man.
and then pick one? So why don't we pull that?
As long as,
Item K on the consent agenda.
but, are we going to screw up what the clerk worked so diligently at.
I can handle it.
Oh, I know you can. You did it this far, so, and I appreciate your efforts.
Why, thank you, trustee.
Is that all under,
It is item K on the consent agenda.
Want to see what our
Or
next
would you
meeting
like
is in
to
February, Mayor?
discuss it this evening and vote on it after?
it's not fair to let, you should let everybody review it. I mean, what's the big rush now?
It was received on Friday. Everyone received it on Friday.
Does everybody, I mean, why not vote on it tonight unless anybody has any
Next meeting will be
problem?
February 6th, right?
Well, February 6th is going to be the next regardless, so, but, I have my mind made up already, if anyone else wants to chime in.
I haven't had a chance to look at, Madam Clerk, B or C. Can I ask you what's the difference? Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Would you like me to make some more hard copies?
Deb, B is
I want
more
you to kill
similar to
another
what we're
tree.
doing right now,
Up until May, correct.
until May.
And that's what I felt we had originally discussed doing.
Well, I think, Clerk Van Heist, I think you are correct. That was what originally was discussed, and then several meetings passed, and we discussed then about moving it up into, starting in February instead. My only concern is looking at how the finance director, Mr. Olivan, has got the budget meetings all set up in there. We're going to be tied up in a lot of budget meetings these next 2-3 months. We might be better off leaving it with B for the simple reason we're going to be here several days a week with budget meetings. So, just a thought, you know.
I don't know. I've operated in many municipalities, some of which have committee of the wholes on alternate Mondays and some don't. I've usually found that, believe it or not, has less meetings because everyone's sort of forced to limit it to 1 day a week, with the exception of some budget hearings that usually end up sneaking in on the weekends. So,
Well, my question is, can you put some of that budgetary stuff in those committee,
Yeah, I mean,
in those committee meetings? And that, I think that's what the whole purpose of the trustees was to begin with. We were having meetings Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and sometimes even 5 days a week. Okay, which might be fine for you, but not for us. And I think that's the problem, and I think we were trying to limit it to 1 day a week, 1 day a week, 1 day a week. And if we can get a bunch of stuff accomplished on those Mondays, we're all for it. But if we can't, then, you know what, let's make a decision and, you know, just think about it and decide which is the better way to go. You know, maybe this is something for the new administration to tackle when they take over in May.
Well, I will say, I think next Monday meeting, there is a budget-related one, and that the fire budget's having a committee.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, I'm sorry, 2 weeks.
Get a clarification.
And there, to the point, is that we keep on having these individual committees, and they're an hour before, and then if all of a sudden it takes 63 minutes to get that done, we have to truncate the meeting in order to facilitate the published board meeting, and then segue back to it. It's convoluted. To me, it was a lot simpler when we had the meetings every Monday.
We're going backwards. No town that I know of in any of this area has meetings every Monday. And even if we do have them every Monday, I could bet you we'll still have meetings on Tuesday or Thursday. Department heads like to have meetings separate. I don't think that's going to change, so we're going to have more and more meetings.
If I can speak, which I'm going to anyway, but few years back, when we would have these meetings, some of those meetings lasted 8 minutes. And my office, the clerk's office, spent many hours getting the agenda together, having everyone send in the information for the agenda, and then getting the minutes together, typing up those minutes. And that, to me, for an 8-minute meeting that we did have, you can look back, and I'm sure you remember that, was a very large time commitment for the clerk's office.
I remember those meetings, and I remember those over 6 years ago.
Over 6 years ago, yes, when I had a recording secretary, too.
Right, right.
Who would take care of a lot of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably more cost-effective as well, not to have a meeting every single Monday. We have to pay attorney's fees, we have to pay, there's a lot more
Not required to
involved.
have an attorney there for a committee meeting. Certainly to have the committee, the attorney.
Not necessarily, not for all the, you don't come for all the committee meetings, do you?
No, just
No.
generally the ones that I have items that,
Right.
Right.
Well, obviously, this is going to have to
that
be put.
additional charge, because your office does charge additional money to come to the committees, because the way it's set
Correct.
up is just for the board meetings
Correct.
presently.
board meetings are included in the retainer and the committee meetings
Right.
are not. That's correct.
Correct. Thank you.
I have no problem deferring this until we have the meeting on the 6th. Yeah. People want to sit there and chew it over.
So that would be item K is pulled.
Yes.
Okay, until February 6th.
Yep.
That's what I was expecting anyway.
All right, it's back on the agenda.
Meanwhile, down on the farm.
No, I'm going to pull it. IT, Trustee Ryan.
No report this evening.
Boat launch, Trustee Ryan.
Just a presentation of the minutes from the June 6th, 2016 boat launch committee meeting that we had then. It was misplaced and recovered.
Planning and zoning, Trustee Dwyer.
No report this evening.
Human resources, Trustee
We
Dwyer.
have a presentation of minutes of the December 3rd, 2016 Human Resources meeting, and a presentation of minutes of the January 9th, 2017 Human Resources meeting. I also have, we have a VALIC financial advisor, Tanya Coleman, will be conducting a lunch and learn seminar entitled Social Security in Your Retirement. This seminar is an important element in retirement planning. This program explores the cost of retirement as well as options for claiming and maximizing Social Security benefits and how to bridge possible income gaps. This will be held Thursday, February 23rd, time to be determined. It's a 30-minute seminar, and information will be sent out when the time is confirmed. And that's all I have. Do you want to talk at all? We have our handbook to be reviewed, and I would assume what do we do? We're going to vote on it for the next meeting, or do we review it, discuss it?
Well, I think everyone needs to take some time to review it.
Right.
And then send me your questions, comments,
Okay.
concerns, all of those things, and then we'll see what we get in and make the final.
Good, I'm glad to see it. The handbook is here. So that's all I have under Human Resources.
Are there any presentations, petitions, or communications which we have not covered under ordinary business? Trustees, are there any other items you wish to remove from the consent agenda? So we've removed K and M. Was there another one?
F.
I'd like to remove,
Which one?
Yeah, that was the December 23rd one that the clerk said shouldn't be on
Oh,
there.
that was taken off, yeah, right.
Item T, I would just want to have added that it is in the 2017 budget for the carpets. So that it would be in addition to that.
2016, 2017
No,
budget? or-
2016, 2017 budget, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Clerk.
I'd like to pull letter J too, please.
Entertain a motion to establish the, I'm sorry?
Letter G
J
is pulled.
for conversation.
J.
G?
J is in John.
J's and
Okay, John.
You'd say G is in George, right?
No, J is in
John.
John.
All right. I'd entertain a motion to establish the consent agenda.
So moved. Second?
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please add the remaining information.
I'm sorry, the second was given by?
John and Kevin.
Thank you.
Take your pick.
Okay, F should not be on the consent agenda, so please cross that off. I'm not going to change the lettering here, but the approval of a list of payroll dated December 21st was on the last consent agenda. G should read $378,596.54. H should read $1,429,252.84. J has been pulled from the consent agenda. K has been pulled from the consent agenda until the February 6th meeting. L will now be resolution number 2017-1-R-2. M has been pulled from the consent agenda. T should have the verbiage added to it in the 2016-2017 budget. Roll call number 1 to...
I'm sorry, could I just add item Q? The total dollar amount of that was $153,108.
153. And what was the cents?
$153,108, yes, please. Thank you.
Q, 153.
Okay. To establish, roll call number 1. Trustee Shapiro?
Yes.
Trustee McGrail?
Yes.
Trustee Dizelle?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Michaels?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
Motion carries to establish.
I'd now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Roll call number 2. Trustee Shapiro?
Yes.
Trustee McGrail?
Yes.
Trustee Dizelle?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Michaels?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Returning to the items removed, item J, approval for the mayor's executive assistant to attend the Administrative Assistance Conference on March 30th, 2017 in Oak Brook Terrace.
I pulled that, Mayor. I was just asking for an individual vote on that, that's all.
Okay. I need a motion. Motion to approve?
I didn't want to make the motion. I'd just like to have an
I don't hear what you're
individual vote
saying,
on that.
John.
Pardon me?
I didn't hear what you said.
We asked for an individual vote on letter J.
Oh.
I'll make the motion for the approval of the mayor's executive assistant to attend the Administrative Assistance Conference on March 30th, 2017 in Oak Brook Terrace.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Roll call number 3. Trustee Shapiro?
Yes.
Trustee McGrail?
No.
Trustee Dizelle?
No.
Trustee Ryan?
No.
Trustee Michaels?
No.
Trustee Dwyer?
No.
Motion fails 2-4.
That's amazing. Letter K, approval of a change to the board meeting schedule plan, which we pulled until February 6th. I'm sorry? Item M, approval of a resolution approving commercial real estate purchase and sale agreement for 11640 Pulaski.
Should we table that to February 6th, or should we just put that indefinitely?
I would just take that off indefinitely.
Okay.
We'll put it back on when we get the signed contract.
Okay, so we handled all of that. Any unfinished business before the board? Any new business? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's all, folks. Thank you for coming out.
Mr. Miller, I have a question. We were talking to Sean about a women's self-defense class. Do you know, Kathy,